Ed, how's it going?
Parker, buddy, how are you doing? I'm doing great.
Good. I'm doing great too, you know? It's another stream. It's one of my favorite things to do during the day and just talking about movies and talking about them with
me
you.
too. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love talking movies. I love talking movies with you. Love talking movies with the chat. How's the chat doing tonight?
Yeah, what's the Wi-Fi? Welcome.
What's the Wi-Fi? Oh, hey, how's it going? Nice. The chat's doing
Chat's doing
fab.
fab.
Nice. Glad you're holding down the chat.
Thank you as our resident chat guardian. You're actually a mod. I don't know if you know that, but that little sword next to you means that you're a moderator. So if anyone's talking shite or anything like that, you know, you've got
can
the
you
power.
ban them?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
What's the Wi-Fi can ban people. But we know What's the Wi-Fi is super cool and wouldn't abuse their power or anything like that. Oh, okay.
Oh,
maybe
I
they
have the
would.
power?
I mean,
Oh, no. Oh. Jump the gun. What's the Wi-Fi? I gotta drop. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. So we have some exciting stuff today.
Yeah.
It's a topic, frankly, I'm a little not nervous, but I just don't know too much about. So it's definitely not coming from like someone who thinks they're the authority on the topic or anything like that.
Yeah. Let's be clear. I think there's very few things that we're authorities on, but that isn't going to stop us from talking about them, especially Matthew Broderick and putting him behind bars, you know?
Why? He's not in jail yet. We have not done our duty.
We weren't there for any of the legal proceedings, but we can guarantee you he should be behind bars.
I read a little bit about what happened just to kind of get to the bottom of it.
Nice. Yeah. Somebody's got it.
Yeah, right? Well, we can talk about it a little bit later. Get to the bottom of it.
And public domain memes. Yeah, those are two things that we are an authority of. Thank you. What's the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We try.
Yeah, so today we're going to be tier listing Jackie Chan movies.
Woo!
Yeah, again, like, it was funny. Like, I thought I knew Jackie Chan movies, and then I, like, looked at his list of his filmography, and he's made a ton of movies, and I actually haven't seen most of them.
Oh, neither have I. You know, I kind of grew up with the more North American movies. I saw a few like of the older Jackie Chan movies while growing up, but honestly, not too many. And while doing research for this, there's definitely a few I want to check out more of.
Oh, the animated show.
I remember the animated show. I watched that all the time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he would like do little intros, and then like it himself like in person, and then they would cut to the animated segments.
Nice.
Yeah, but we are sticking to I think the movies. We don't have any the animated thing. Although I was debating putting it on here. But,
Yeah. Okay. Well, we could always revisit that at some point. Yeah. Mostly North American Jackie Chan movies are the ones that I've seen. There is a special Hong Kong Jackie Chan movie that is very near and dear to my heart that I will talk about, and I'll talk about it at length tonight, Ed. So buckle up.
I'm hyped.
But yeah, I mean, I think the point here really is that it's really remarkable, like how many movies Jackie Chan has been involved in, whether he's on the screen or not even on it. You know, he's coordinating stunts, he's writing, he's directing, like. Yeah, he's quite the showbiz guy.
Yeah, right. He's also just like he transcended the international market, which was really cool. I feel like not too many people are watching maybe foreign movies from Hong Kong and whatnot. But if they were watching a foreign film, chances are it was a Jackie Chan movie.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
So big fan of his American movie. Or like I'm a big fan of a couple of them. I shouldn't go too hard on it.
Hey, we'll go hard. That's what tonight's all about.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, before we get into that and reveal the tier list that we're going to start, or the movies we're going to start talking about and put them on the list, yeah, I think we're still taking recommendations on any movies that people want to watch. I did see in our suggestion box Escape from Tomorrowland is on there.
Let's give that a shot.
And that's, you know, we haven't been deleted from Twitch yet. I know that was a concern on Saturday, so here we are. We didn't even get a copyright strike. So
nothing. Donata. I guess people just don't care about bad taste. If you can stomach bad taste, they're fine with you watching it. They're just like, go ahead.
Yeah, they're like, those are practical effects. Come on.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think that was super fun, and I'm curious to see what else we can dig up to watch.
Oh, 100%. There's got to be a million things. I mean, we watched the first of the Santos series. I feel like there's got to be a few more Santos movie in the public domain. And, hey, as soon as you start mixing bad movies and wrestling, you have me hooked.
Nice. Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to pull up...
Pulling it up. All right, let's do it. Whoa,
our tier list. Woo. Okay, so yeah, we've got all these movies here at the bottom, and we are going to actually put them on the list today. So please, let's do this together. And like we said, we haven't seen all the Jackie Chan movies out there, and like there's a very select few. So if there's a movie that's missing from here that you feel strongly about should be rated and added to this tier list, please give us a shout out and we will put it on the list. Like we said, this is not just our tier list, but it's yours as well, chat. So Rush Hour.
Yeah, and it really does go for this one. Rush Hour 2 and 3. So Rush Hour is kind of lumped into one. But hey, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so this is what we got. Where are they? Where's Rush Hour 2 and 3? What's the Wi-Fi's demanding to know?
I feel like they all work as one. Apologies that they aren't individualized. I feel like their identity is... they don't vary too much in my personal opinion. So I feel like having 3 different blocks from Rush Hour, although the first one is vastly different from the third one, shame. Apologies.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get started into it. Is there any movie you want to talk about first?
Oh boy. Well, should we go through the movie list on the bottom, or should we go like sorting it through S through D? Like, why don't we go from the bottom up? Why don't we start at D, and then we'll save our favorites for the end? Okay, sounds good. Well,
okay.
So D, oh boy. Well, his terrible 2000s kids movies. I mean, I don't even know what to say about those. And that does not include the animated series. The animated series is awesome, and I have nothing bad to say about that. I thought it was very informative as a kid. Him talking about stunts and how they work. So thumbs up for that show.
Yeah, nice. Okay, well, terrible 2000s movies, and give us an example or a couple of examples of what those movies are.
Well, the reason why I'm putting terrible is because, I immediately think of the Spy Next Door, which is just like just such an awful movie. I believe that was 2010. I didn't personally see it. But I definitely remember when it came out, and it was just like a big step down from Jackie Chan, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Apologies, I'm rubbing my nose again because allergies are acting up again. So if I'm doing that, apologies.
Today I was listening to, who was it? I think it was Jason Bateman on a podcast saying that there was some special allergy doctor in LA that cured his seasonal allergies completely. So
no way.
I'll get you that doctor's number. I'm sure he's cheap. And
is Jay Bateman?
He'll wave a wand and you won't have allergies anymore. What's the Wi-Fi? I saw the Spy Next Door in theaters. Wow.
Oh, seriously? Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, please do.
I just saw the trailer. Realized what was happening. It was clearly the downfall of Jackie Chan in North America. I think he came to North America for a paycheck in general. Like, we could talk about that a little more. And kind of start, going through his life.
Yeah.
But so to be on the downward trend, even in his America career, was starting to really show. So the Spy Next Door, and then he was in the remake of The Karate Kid, I think, as well.
He was with Will Smith's kid. What's his name?
Jaden? I think
Jaden Smith. Yeah. And these movies, like, I'm looking at the Spy Next Door here, and it I mean, it made money, but it didn't even double its budget of 28 million. It apparently made 45.2 in the box office. So it's not like he even like had the opportunity to really sell his soul for money. Like, he just sold his soul. It was cheap. Price was cheap.
Is that 28 million? Do you think that includes the marketing budget, or is that just the production budget? So,
jeez. Well, let's say it includes the marketing budget for Jackie's sake. All right.
Nice.
What's the Wi-Fi? You've only seen Rush Hour, Kung Fu Panda, that movie, and Karate Kid. Wow.
Okay,
I'm kind of impressed. Honestly, that's all you've seen.
You've seen almost a third. You've seen a third of the movies that we've seen, frankly. So not bad. You're starting somewhere.
I'm just looking through 2000s movies here. What's a Kung Fu Panda? Does that count?
I don't think it's terrible, but I mean, in terms of like Jackie Chan and what he could bring to the table, I think it is kind of like a terrible, like, I mean, he went. I think he went back to China to do more action movies because the U.S. didn't know what to do with him. Like, he's even talked about his frustration with the editing in the U.S. He's talked about just their safety regulations and the insurance. How like a scene that would normally take like 30 or so minutes to shoot in Hong Kong took like 4 days, 3 or 4 days here. So
Yeah, and I mean, that makes sense because also like probably by the time the 2000s are rolling around, there's like, I feel like there's more martial arts action stars for him to kind of compete with. Cause like, I don't know, when we were a kid, I mean, I guess there were some, there was like your Steven Seagal, your Chuck Norris and
definitely. We had a lot of copycats.
Yeah, I guess there was a lot, but I mean,
Steven Seagal's a piece of shit. Just want to throw that out there.
I think is he the only one who has actually done all of his own stunts ever in his movies?
I couldn't definitively say that, but it sure as hell looks like it, or at least in his early days. I'm not sure if he ever did later on. Like if he was still doing that into his like, I believe he's like 67 now.
He is, yeah. He's getting up there.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I know that he did actually hold, like I assume he still has a record just because he's been in so many movies, but he held the record for like the most stunts done on camera by a single person ever. Like, not even just awesome. Like an actor that's done his own stunts or blah blah blah, but like just because he's been in so many movies, he's been a stuntman for a ton of movies before he was even like a leading character, before even like really recognized as an actor at all. But
okay, nice. Was that like his start in movies? Was he like, did he start as a martial artist, then he transitioned into a stuntman?
So funny. I actually looked this up because I was really curious. Nice. Because like the thing is I'm like, I bet there is an interesting story here because like, yeah, he came out of Hong Kong cinema, like hot into Hollywood, and like he is arguably one of the most famous action movie stars of all time so far anyways, right? Yeah. And so like how did that come to be? So I thought that like he would have been like a Bruce Lee scenario where he grew up like in martial arts and stuff, but it doesn't really seem that martial arts were quite as prominent to him. So apparently when he was a kid, he did training for basically like traditional Chinese opera, and there was like,
oh wow, nice.
Yeah, so he was part of this like repertory school, I guess, and apparently when you train for a traditional Chinese opera, you also train martial arts. Like your singing has to be really good, your acting, and your basically like your all-around performance, like physical performance, vocal performance, acting, all that kind of stuff. So you're like getting this all-around kind of performance training. He did that, and then he like apparently did that all the way through. And I know that he went to drama school, I believe, like from what I was looking up, and he afterwards was like came out of school, but by then traditional Chinese opera wasn't really popular anymore and a way to make money. So like his options were kind of like find a normal job or like try to pursue being a stuntman in the movies, because he had the like martial arts and acrobatics training and all that stuff through his school. And obviously he went the stuntman direction, and yeah, apparently he struggled for a little while with it, and then like the first, like, I don't even know if you'd call it a breakthrough, but like apparently like there was some director, I don't even know the name of the movie. I wonder if I can get it from here.
What year was that?
So this was in the 70s. So this was in the 70s. Like the early 70s, he started to get, so basically he was getting like stuntman roles and stuff. So if you look at his movie work, he's getting all this kind of like stuntman stuff, and like occasionally he'll get like a character name or like a cameo credit. But then I think it was maybe like the mid 70s where he this is it, this has got to be it, it's got to be New Fist of Fury.
Sounds like a sweet movie.
Wait, I just want to see this here.
It sounds like a Bruce Lee movie.
Basically, like, yeah, this would have been 76. So he was kind of doing the whole stuntman thing for a while, but then like it wasn't really working out. But then apparently the director had like seen him in something before, and then basically gave him this lead character in a movie. But he was like, you got to act exactly like Bruce Lee, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, basically he's just like, Bruce you got to be like, he's like, and he got him to like imitate Bruce Lee, like,
oh no,
as much as he could, like totally. He's like, you gotta like basically imitate Bruce Lee, and like apparently he did an okay job, but like he wasn't that great at imitating Bruce Lee. And then after that, he kind of came up with his own style of like martial arts movie. So apparently the movie that he came up with it for was The Drunken Master. So in 1978, about 2 years later, he had the title role in The Drunken Master, and he came up with this very like comedic and floozy action style, because like in the premise of the movie, the guy's like kind of this drunk, but when he's like drunk, he's like a much more fluid martial artist, and he's better. But then like he kind of went with this shtick for a while, and like that kind of became like Jackie Chan was known as the Drunken Master, and then like he could actually do all sorts of like, because you know, if you see like Bruce Lee action, he's like very good, and he's a great martial artist, and he's like good action. Jackie Chan's has this like essence of goofiness to it. Like, have you noticed how there's
he gets
like
comedy?
He
understands
that's what
comedy,
it is. That's
100%.
what it is, right? Like
he gets it. He gets the physicality. He gets the faces. He knows how to do a face. You see his physicality, him getting hit and like reacting a lot. Like it's his pain that really kind of makes it funny, like the slapstickness. Like it makes him human. Like a lot of action people don't go for, like, they make him like themselves untouchable. Like, could you imagine if John Wick is always getting hit in the fucking face? You go like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that'd be hilarious. Like,
yeah, totally. Or like, I know, man, I'm just thinking like Jason Statham, like being anything but cool as fuck. Like,
yeah, right. Because imagine just like, oh no.
Yeah, they're superhumans.
Right. Like, so Jackie Chan has like a certain humility about his like action, if that makes sense. But
yeah, totally. So like, yeah, it's really interesting. And I think like even talking about like learning that he got trained in like performance, not in martial arts first, like
makes sense.
I think that was maybe a unique feature for him, right? Like, because he had, you know, obviously he's great at martial arts and like does all of his own stunts and shit, but like
he knew how to play to the camera.
Yeah, he knew how to play to the camera. That's a great way to put it. So yeah, he kind of like from there, like going into the 80s, he's just getting more and more work. And like, I get also like, he's super, multi-talented, right? And I guess ambitious. I guess that was the thing. Cause like he would be, when you look at like his work, I think in the late 70s, yeah, his directorial debut was in 79, this movie called The Fearless Hyena. And he actually directed it, and he was the action director. It looks like he has been the action director since like maybe like early to mid 70s. Like that's been a thing that he's been doing. But then like he starts directing, and then when you look at the 80s, he's got writer, director, action director credits. He's got starring roles, tons of Hong Kong movies. Like the guy's done a ton of movies, like we've been saying, and I guess it's really, what is it, really like the 90s that all of a sudden Hollywood recognizes him and starts calling him over.
Yeah, you know, I think, I feel like he did his art in Hong Kong, and then he did the paycheck in America. You know, I'm assuming, yeah, that he was just such a good international star. It just made sense that, you know, you hit a certain ceiling before you start having to, like, you know, you do those Hollywood movies to I guess, reach a new audience. And break through to the next level of stardom.
What was his first Hollywood movie? I'm like looking at his list
Well,
here. And
I mean,
I'm really
Rumble in
curious.
the Bronx was kind of a hybrid movie because they had like an English version and whatnot. It was a little more.
It's true. Like it definitely had like a reasonable release in North America.
But I believe it's like straight up like first one was Rush Hour.
Yeah, fuck. What a movie to say hello to America with, huh?
Oh boy. Should we just launch in a Rush Hour from that? Oh boy.
Yeah, you know what? I guess I kind of talked about the sweet 70s a bit. So maybe I'll give my little anecdote, my little story about his 70s movies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what's the Wi-Fi wants to see Statham do bits? Well, hey, he ain't dead yet. That day could come. When that well dries up and Hollywood's not knocking on his door, maybe he'll start doing funny stuff.
Oh, 100%.
Just kidding. He's great. I bet he's great. That well's never going to dry up, of course.
Has he ever hosted SNL? I mean...
We'll have to cast him in something.
Yeah, that's true. Oh. Would love to do it.
So, Jackie Chan 70s movies. So... Just looking at some of these titles here. The Brutal Boxer, Policewoman, Little Tiger of Canton, Fist to Fist, The Golden Lotus, blah, 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 blah.
Some of these names
heard of.
must have been like lost in like the like English translation a bit, the titles. Or they must have been like called something. Because I highly doubt that's what they're like, what the initial name was for some of these.
Yeah.
Those sound fucking terrible.
And I do want to clarify that he wasn't in a significant role in any movie on screen until 76. So the early 70s, he was barely in. So years ago, man, I must have been like 15 or something. And I was at a Fred Meyer in the United States. My parents got like a little summer place over the border, so we'd spend the summers in the States. And love Fred Meyer, love me the discount DVD bin there. And, you know, it's like basically like this, like retirement home that like, sorry, it's not a retirement home, but it's like this like little like leisure park that is like all sorts of, retired people. So like there's very few kids, there's not a lot to do except to like watch a ton of movies. You know, I've already talked about probably several times on the stream how one summer every single day I watched The Fast and the Furious. That was at this little place in the States. Well, another summer, I was there and I found it was like a 5-movie box set of Jackie Chan movies for like $6 or something, and I was nice. I was like, this is awesome. Like I haven't seen any of these movies.
It's like
and
$1.20 a movie.
yeah, it was crazy. And it was like, I was like, I haven't seen any of these movies. These are awesome. And I like legit, yeah, that is a steal.
It's a very good,
I liked I was really into martial arts movies as a kid, as someone who did like kickboxing and wrestling and stuff. And so I would like try to like find martial arts movies kind of if I could. Like didn't really have like internet access to this stuff back then. But anyways, I bought these movies, was super stoked. And I like popped the first one in and I was watching it with a friend and like, we're like 40 minutes in and I'm like, where's Jackie Chan? Like, what is going on? And like, watch this whole movie. And then at one point, like I see a guy that I'm like, I think that's Jackie Chan, but also because it's like the 70s and he would have been younger. I'm like, I don't even know. And the guy was on screen for like 30 seconds. Pop in the next movie, same thing. And I realized like, I didn't know that like he wasn't in movies in the 70s, but basically it sounds like some American company got the rights to these movies and they're like, yeah, we can move these by just like totally mismarketing the DVD box set. Because it's like, this movie's got Jackie Chan. And like, technically it does, but like, it's not a Jackie Chan movie by any means. It's just like some obscure movie that got lost in time.
You got the dude.
Jackie Chan.
Did you bring it back to Fred Meyer himself? Say,
no.
Chuck it at him and say, you fucked me, Fred.
Yeah, it was a box set of his background work. It was such a fucking joke. Like, it was like nobody wants to watch these, obviously. Like, if you like, and man, you know, later, because years later, I was actually, after Ong Bak kind of got some recognition and I saw that movie, all of a sudden I was like, Tony Jaa's awesome because his like stunts are super cool. And he did Muay Thai kickboxing, which was what I did as a kid. And so I was like wanting to see more of his movies. And then of course there's like a slew of like a handful of movies where it's like this movie with Tony Jaa and then he's just got like a 30-second cameo in the movie or some shit, and they just like in the American release they just put his name all over it.
Oh, what fucking
because
assholes.
they know people are gonna look for that.
Man, that's such horseshit. You should be able to get like that you should be able to get a death penalty for, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not for
People
capital
have died
punishment.
for less in Thailand.
Yeah. Jackie
That's why
Chan's
am I
son
laughing?
almost died for that. Almost died for this.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. So, anyways, that's my relationship with Jackie Chan's sweet 70s movies. Is that
boy.
they ain't that great. Most of them don't really have Jackie Chan in them. Look out.
Duped. You got duped hard. I'm sorry. That's brutal. $6, that's a lot of money now that you think of it. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
That's like a chicken sandwich and a half. From
well, I
Popeyes.
mean, I think I was more upset with. I watched all the movies, so I think that's like 7 hours between. Some of them were barely cracked 60 minutes too.
That doesn't count as
like,
a movie.
I don't know.
That's
It was
shit.
like 7 hours of wasted time. It wasn't wasted. There was some funny, like really bad stunts in it, but they were just generally bad movies, right? Like low budget 70s movies. I can't like. I don't really have a memory of any of them being good, so I'm gonna say no.
Were they from the Hong Kong movie scene, or were they from like Western movies that would cast like?
No,
Hong Kong
they were
stuntmen?
like proper Hong Kong with like it was all subtitles and stuff. I do remember one particular scene that was hilarious, and we like died laughing. Where like, so it was like somebody was like taking a zip line, but then like whatever it was, like they weren't actually like, they were clearly like standing on a platform as well. So like the shot had like their feet cut out, so you couldn't see them standing on something, but the way that they were like rigidly like riding this thing, like they were obviously on a platform, and it looked super goofy as they went by, because like they're trying to make it look like they're hanging, but like it's just like clearly not, like their arms were, it was, and yeah, we had a good laugh with that. But that's,
So you still got some like gems out of that.
yeah, like I think there was 2 of the movies where I don't even think I saw Jackie Chan.
I can't believe that you like actually watched them all. I thought it was gonna go like you watched 40 minutes, you saw Jackie Chan for like 5 minutes, you realized you got fucked, you ditched the movies, but you watched them all.
Yeah,
I
mean, after like
great.
the first 1 or 2, honestly, I didn't even really get it, because I didn't even really comprehend that Jackie Chan, like, you know, you don't know how movie biz works when you're like 11 or 12 or whatever. So it's like, I was like, I just assumed he was always a star, right? So I'm like, oh, like I must just be like, maybe he looked way different when he was younger, and like I'm just like missing. Like it was hard to follow the movie, anyways. Because like first of all the plots weren't very good, but then also because there's like many characters, it's not in English. I was like, oh, maybe like maybe they're talking about the Jackie Chan character now and he's about to come out. It's kind of like where I like think he's about to come out, and then like I'm like, oh, he's gonna be like a big character that gets revealed later, because you know sometimes that happens. But no, it was because like he actually just did like a stunt in like a 2-second scene, and we didn't even see his face. That's why I missed him. You know.
That should
like,
be
illegal.
illegal.
Probably his face isn't even like present in those movies, like for the most part, right? Like because
probably
he's a
not.
stuntman. Like
Did they use like an image from one of the movies on the box art? Is it just like some grainy out of focus punched in picture?
No, I swear, I think they just used images from different movies, man. Honestly, because like he would be on the cover of like these different, like, because it's, you know, they're all slid into the thing, and you'd see like these images of like Jackie Chan, and it looks like really old, but like I don't even think those were from the movies that we were watching.
Yeah, that is janky. What's the Wi-Fi? That's so jank. I've bought many of shitty movies from the DVD bin. Oh, believe me. But that is like, ooh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Some of the movies he may not have even been in, like, oh, that's so crazy. It's a like, where's the Waldo of Jackie Chan?
Yeah, it was.
Like if there was advertised as like, that's the game, kids, like see if you can fucking spot Jackie Chan, that'd be great. But,
dude, I felt like such a shithead being like, I can't tell which one is Jackie Chan. Like I was like, what does that make me? Like, geez.
Oh, feel a little racist.
Yeah,
like,
I was
man.
like, I get like, what the heck? Like, how can I? And then I'm like, yeah, because he's not fucking in these movies. But
Yeah, these movies just blow.
like he's you know, he does like a jumps out a window once, and then that's it. But anyways, I had a good time. You know, I had a good time. That's my relationship to Jackie Chan's 70s movies. So for that, I want to give those movies a big old D, because they don't have Jackie Chan in them enough.
Boom, they're deep then. They got the D.
Don't get duped. If anyone's trying to sell you a box set of DVDs of 70s movies that have Jackie Chan, they don't have them.
They don't got him.
That's
it's
what
a
I'll tell
lie.
you.
It doesn't exist.
It's a lie.
Oh, wow. You really went mining, though, there.
Yeah.
For the gems. Good on you for giving it all 7 hours a shot. Oh, boy.
I can't even remember the names of any of them because like all of the titles are so like not memorable. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're all probably like,
I'm like, I don't know
like,
which ones I watch. Like, I definitely didn't watch New Fist of Fury.
I was gonna say, like, they probably were all like knockoffs of like famous Bruce Lee movie titles. Just all like plays on those. It's like, hey, confuse the audience some more.
Are we gonna get into that? What do you think happened to Bruce Lee? How did he really die?
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding. We don't have to get into it, but you can think about it.
Well, I think maybe a blank of a gun was caught in the chamber.
Oh, jeez, man. We're going there?
Hey.
Well, you know, maybe it's a different story than Jackie Chan's son, which we'll get into.
Yeah, there's a whole different side of Jackie Chan we'll talk about later.
Yeah. What's the Wi-Fi? I'm surprised I kept going too. But you know what? I was 11, and like I said, I had nothing better to do in this retirement town, Birch Bay, Washington. So
shout out to Birch Bay.
Okay, let's... where were we? I guess anything else on the D spectrum?
I think the Terrible Kids movies. I don't think there's anything good there. I mean, we've lumped it in as terrible.
Yeah, I guess our verdict is kind of like
it's already made
a paycheck, right?
It's basically right. It's and also like I feel like the block has already made its mind up. Like terrible 2000s kids movies. Like the title's even biased.
Yeah, it did. You know what I was gonna say when we were talking about that? So because you mentioned like. He came to Hollywood for the paycheck is kind of how it feels. And yeah, you know, I was reading. So if you on his like wiki page, it's got like the different eras of his movies and stuff. And yeah, like the end of the 90s, kind of like his fame in Hollywood is happening and whatnot. But then 2008 to present, it says that the subtitle is New Experiments and Change in Acting Style. Which I find kind of interesting.
Change in acting style.
Change in acting style. So 2008. So, okay, today he's 67. This was like 13 years ago. So he would have been like 54. Is that like...
Oh, is this like less physicality?
Or sorry, not 54. He would have been... I guess he would have been 54, yeah. So yeah, so basically like, because I'm like, what does that mean? Like change in acting style for Jackie Chan? Like I'm not aware of this. And so it talked about, so in 2007, actually, I kind of want to see this movie. Have you seen Shinjuku Incident?
No.
It's a crime drama. It's a 2007 crime drama. Oh, sorry. I guess he was filming in 2007. The movie was released. It's a Hong Kong crime drama released in 2009, which I'm kind of curious because Shinjuku is a district in Tokyo, I think. But it's a dramatic role, and it features him with no martial arts at all.
Oh, whoa. Is he a bad guy in that, or did he?
I don't know. He's the lead character.
Okay, nice.
And
wow.
Yeah, and I think it is probably taking place in Japan, but it's a crime drama. I think he's like probably a cop or something.
Is that the first movie where he doesn't do anything like that?
I think that's the first movie where he has like no martial arts at all.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He didn't do like just like a light comedy. Oh, weird. That's wild. I guess every movie he's done, he has done shit.
Yeah, but I'm kind of curious because then I guess these days, like honestly, I haven't seen any movies of any of his later movies, but I think he kind of is doing less. He's doing like he is like it's like he wants to do like characters more and stuff, right? Like,
hey, good for him. You know, I know he's in that movie with like Pierce Brosnan recently, The Foreigner. I haven't seen it. But I'm interested now. Now that I've like got back into this Jackie Chan thing, I want to watch more of his movies nowadays and see what he's up to.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I feel like I heard that The Foreigner's like pretty good for, especially like, and like
Nice.
different than what you expect for a Jackie Chan title role movie.
Does he do the fighting in that?
I don't know. I'm looking
Do you like
at
my
it
moves?
here. He probably does. He probably does. Let's be real. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that he, I don't know, kind of marks the shift. And like, I wonder if it's like, you know, just speculating here, but I wonder if like he realizes like Hollywood doesn't quite know what to do with him. He's maybe like maybe he truly is like, he wanted to make good stuff and he was like, well, if I'm going to stick in Hollywood, my pivot is to like try to be like a character actor now or something.
Yeah, like I'm not going to be able to like bring people back with my fantastic stunts. That ship is basically sailed.
Yeah.
I feel like he would like, he still wants to be like an actor. That's for sure. And he just knows that he can't bring the physicality. And if he can't like do it well, I feel like he doesn't want to do a shitty version of something.
Yeah. Like I get the sense that there's something there in terms of like him wanting to make a good quality product, and because he's like so hands-on with like other roles beyond being an actor.
Perfectionist too. It sounds
Yeah.
like he's a bit of a perfectionist. The amount of takes he does sometimes sounds pretty ludicrous. Like up to like 100 takes sometimes I've heard.
Yeah.
Just to get everything done, you know. So I'm assuming he just probably couldn't do that anymore. Like, could you imagine like being 67 and doing like 100 takes of like a kick, like a keep kicking? Like I'm sure he just like literally can't. I mean, there's only so much he could do. But I bet he could do 100 takes of like, you know, a close up. That's no problem.
Yeah. I heard
Just
that
to, like,
he trains younger stunt coordinators and stuff now, and like,
oh, that's cool. That is really cool. Nice.
that
Okay,
he's like
so
trying to like
people
build
will kind
up.
of continue.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
I think that's, yeah. I mean, I just kind of like read about that a bit. But yeah.
His son sure as shit isn't going to be doing that.
Should we get there now?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
I think it's interesting because like you just kind of talked about, you know, he's clearly got this perfectionist streak. He's super involved in like the movies that he is a part of. But you know, perhaps there is like a dark side to that in terms of being a perfectionist, and like we've talked about like his kind of it seems like he's kind
Separate
of like
the art from the artist.
Yeah,
you know?
So Jackie Chan's son, JC Chan, I believe his name is.
Yep, absolutely.
Honestly,
spelled Jaycee.
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of like looked some of this up, then I didn't know about it before. But if you're pretty familiar, you can feel free to start us off with the JC Chan chapter.
Oh boy. Well, okay. So I believe it was in 2009 that Jackie Chan basically became the poster child for this anti-drug in China movement, where like harsh penalties for people with drug possession and drug users, like harsh penalties. And then a few years later, I believe it was in 2016, his son JC was caught with weed, and I think like 3 ounces in his apartment, which is a lot of weed. However, it was like egg on his face, Jackie Chan's face, because he was the biggest. You know, he was the poster child for this anti-drug movement. Here's this kid breaking the laws, and apparently, and it's weed over here. It's legalized in Canada. In China, it's still taken very seriously. So much so that I believe the death penalty was even on the table for JC for having 3 ounces of marijuana, which is insane. And apparently, Jackie Chan did not use any of his sway to get a lesser sentence on him or an easier prison term that he did serve. He ended up getting, I think it was like 15 months, and then he was out. But boy, it's just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
Compared that to Matthew Broderick, what Matthew Broderick got for those murders. Matthew Broderick got a $170 fine for killing 2 people, and JC almost got death for smoking some weed.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Different priorities in different countries, I suppose.
Yeah. So his son is super apologetic now, and it said he would never do it again. I haven't been keeping up with him. I have no idea.
Yeah. Apparently, he faded into obscurity.
Yeah. Right. I think he's in L.A. now.
Yeah, he went back to America because I guess he was trying to make it as like an actor, singer, like all that kind of stuff. And apparently, he was just like. It seems like the consensus is that he was just like not talented enough.
Yeah, it sounds like he was just like some like rich kid kind of.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's what it is. I think what really rubbed Jackie Chan the wrong way is that he didn't work hard enough. He, would apparently he was known to have like lavish parties, get drunk all the time and shit. And like, I mean, like, it's kind of interesting because it's like a lot of people who have become successful in showbiz or really in anything, I guess, that have like built it from the ground up, so to speak, or didn't come from the money or anything like that or connections. Yeah, it's like they got there, but it's like I feel like people really underestimate like what happens to a kid when they grow up amongst all that stuff. Because like so all the time, like the kid of this person is like is whatever, like enjoying the money and all that shit, and like not. I don't know if you've seen Daniel Day-Lewis has a son, Gabe Day-Lewis.
Oh no, you're lying,
dude.
Is he like wild, like a shithead?
So
out of control kid?
You'd be hard pressed to find some of the videos anymore, but he briefly kind of tried to make his way in a career as like a rapper.
Whoa.
And he was quite bad. He was quite bad.
Yeah,
he had these like goofy ass songs that were like borderline, like, is this a parody of a rap video?
That sounds fucking amazing.
They weren't great at all. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've seen some stuff where he'll like freestyle against someone, and it's like, oh, he seems pretty good then. But overall, like, not that great, and definitely not like Daniel Day-Lewis, like tier in terms of artistry. Like, not even close. Like, the apple fell incredibly far from the tree. Like,
and there's a lot of worms in that apple.
Yeah, like this, like it's like, is that even the right tree is kind of what you're asking yourself. But as of late, apparently he's now become like a male model, or he's trying to make it as a model or something like that. And
nice. Okay,
again, yeah, totally not like his father. And like, I don't know, man, like that can go for in a lot of cases, like. So anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is like Jackie Chan's like all like disappointed with his son and like kind of cut him off and all this stuff, but it's like obviously like that hasn't, like, if he really loves his son, like that didn't help because like his son, I don't know, he's still struggling, it seems like, and like
he sounds like, frankly, like a shitty father. Like the more, hey, I love it. We're doing like a Jackie Chan tier list, and we're gonna get to like some S tier stuff and talk really positively about him. But it sounds like Jackie Chan's a really big fan of Jackie Chan, and he has an estranged daughter.
Yeah,
who he basically doesn't acknowledge, and
because she's from an affair.
She's from an affair, and she is like an outspoken lesbian, and I believe she's married to a Canadian. Whoop, whoop. And it doesn't sound like he's a fan of that.
No kidding.
Yeah, so not only that, on top of the estranged daughter, him not keeping like in contact at all. Sounds like she's living her best life. Yeah, it does. It sounds like she's doesn't let her stop her, which is great. Yeah, Jackie Chan. I don't know. So the more I read about that, it kind of bummed me out. I was like, oh man, we're gonna praise this man's work.
I mean, it's such an interesting thing. Like when, and like, man, it's just so. When somebody's like so good at something, a lot of times, like if somebody's really good in their professional life, like a lot of times their personal life isn't the best. And like it's almost like sacrificing that kind of. Those good relationships, I guess. Like,
I think so. He's busy trying to kill some pot smokers.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Tom Hanks is a weird kid too. Yeah, he has Colin, who is a normal one, and then he has another son who,
he has
who
another
isn't talked
son?
about much. Yeah. Colin's like, I think, totally fine, but apparently he didn't like spend much time with Colin.
Yeah. Also, I just heard that like Colin doesn't like he didn't like use his hookups to like get him roles and shit, and like which is kind of clear because he was on Life in Pieces or whatever, that like TV show that
Hey,
whatever,
man,
I guess it was fine, but like
You didn't love Orange County with Jack Black?
yeah, oh shit, yeah. You know what? He was in Fargo and he was awesome. So
Yeah, he does do like occasionally now some good stuff, but
like
I feel like
he didn't get like a Spielberg movie because Tom Hanks is his dad. You know?
No. He got a Peter Jackson movie though.
Did he? What?
But
I'm trying to think.
He was in King Kong, I believe. He was like the assistant to Jack Black or something like that.
No
Wow,
kidding.
him and Jack Black again. I just realized. Oh boy,
Yeah.
he's good in comedies.
Yeah,
I
he
do
is
actually
good.
like Colin
He
Hanks,
is good.
but I feel like in the early 2000s that people did cast him because they're like, "Ooh, it's a Hanks." They're just like totally like, "Oh, we can get away with it." Like Tom Hanks may not have put a name in, but the casting people were like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, people will know though."
Well, it was so funny. Like, I actually didn't like, because I'd never really like recognized him as like Colin Hanks or whatever. And then Allie was watching Life in Pieces one time, like a few years ago, and I was like, "What's that? Some like B-level Tom Hanks that they hired, like a lookalike, because they couldn't get Tom Hanks."
Yeah, it's Colin.
And I was like, "Holy shit, that's actually his son."
Oh yeah, Colin. Oh yeah.
But
He only now is he kind of getting like famous again. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's also with Jack Black in Jumanji. Yeah, he's pretty good in Jumanji, although albeit it's a small role.
Yeah.
But he is good.
Yeah, no kidding. Where were we? Famous actors' relationships with their sons.
talking about Colin Hanks there. Oh my.
Yeah. So yeah. I guess that's Jackie Chan. He's a broken human being like the rest of us, and maybe
Hey,
broken
you know?
in a few very specific, intense ways. But hey.
Some of his movies are fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think those two will close off the D tier for us. Are you happy with that?
Just taking a look here. Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, I'd love to slap one of those movies in there, but we'll save it maybe for another tier.
So the only movie on this little list here, kids should go to C tier.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
Yeah, please tell us.
Is it because at least he was in it?
At least he was in them.
yeah,
Yeah,
versus-
that is a differentiation factor right there.
It's true, but I kind of wish he wasn't in them though. Is the issue there? But you know what? Who am I? If what's Wi-Fi? If you think it should go to C, I definitely will put it in C. So,
Yeah.
So,
and I guess these are all relative in the spectrum of Jackie Chan. Maybe is that the case, or is it like our own? Like, is S tier a constant among all movies, or is it like in Jackie Chan movies this one's
Jackie
an
Chan
S tier?
movies. Yeah, I think
Okay.
Jackie Chan. Movies,
So I
yeah,
think in
totally.
that case, I think then we can differentiate the terrible 2000s kids movies. Not Willing to Die on a Hill.
All right, let's do it. Let's put it on
But
C.
screen time might be a step above background work. Fair enough.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I agree. You made a convincing point.
That's good. It's going to give us somewhere to go, because if we're a little
Sure.
too strict, I don't know if anything's going to make the A tier, frankly.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just looking at it. It's like, boy, it really goes from like B and C to S.
Yeah.
Well, I think. Okay, then I guess my original choice for C will now, I guess, be up to B, which is totally cool.
Which was
Wi-Fi getting the Oscars?
Ooh, no.
Oh, it's so
Lost
close.
a few.
My choice, though, was going to be Rush Hour.
Ooh. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. All right.
I want to ask you about Project A. That's the only one on this list that I haven't actually seen.
Okay, so I have kind of foggy memories of seeing Project A. I saw this one when I was a kid, but I remember it being one of his like actual like Legit Hong Kong movies. Good action, great action. Like you said, maybe not the best plots, or at least the plots didn't translate well into whatever shitty dub they did for English. But I remember like some of the. He is good at comedy himself, but some of the jokes that he wasn't involved with, like some of the bits that all the like supporting characters did, were pretty horrible. So I wouldn't put it like at A or S. Well, yeah, I would definitely put it more towards the B. But one thing that does stand out is my brother and I would watch watch Jackie Chan movies in Tucson, Arizona when we were kids. We were like 9. I think this would have been like 2000. And every time we watched a Jackie Chan movie, a bobcat would come over and like hang out. Like this giant bobcat would come onto our property and like sit by like the door and just like hang out. And it happened only when we watched Jackie Chan movies and only when my parents were away. It's probably like hoping to eat us or something like that. But it was very strange. So we called that the Jackie Chan bobcat. But that's my fondest memory of Project A. Outside of that, so
sounds
it just goes
like
to
that bobcat just wanted a front row seat for some good cinema.
Oh boy, you better believe it. And he picked an okay time to do it.
Nice, man. Okay, I like it. So we're gonna put it in B.
Let's put it in B. It's definitely a step up from some of these other ones. And he's in it. He's definitely in it. And he is kicking ass. So it's not like the 70s where he's not in them, and it's not like the terrible 2000s kids movies where he's like not kicking ass.
where he's cashing checks.
Yeah, right?
Okay, I like it, man. I like it. And yeah, okay. I'm going to come back. I'm going to save, if it's all right with you, I'm going to save my favorite one for last. So I'm going to come back to a little bit of what you said there when we talk about, you already know what movie that is.
Oh, 100%. I think like half our thing will just be talking about that.
Oh, yeah, man. I got a lot to talk about with this movie.
Same here. All right, good.
So, okay, before we get there, let's get the Shanghai series out of the way.
Yeah, let's get it the fuck out of here. All right. That's another one, actually. I saw it in theaters with my brother in Tucson. But yeah, Shanghai Noon, Shanghai Nights.
So I'm kind of curious. Is this his first like buddy movie, like American buddy movie? No, it's not.
Rush
It's
Hour.
not. Obviously not. Yeah. But it's his other one, right? Like
it's like the the lighter version, I guess. Like it is like. I feel like Rush Hour is a little more tried to be edgy with its jokes, and this feels more like a light Western series that like pretty much anyone could be in, and it shows because it doesn't stand out as much. Like we'll talk about how I feel about Rush Hour, but at least like I remember Rush Hour more. The same can't be said for the Shanghai series. Like I remember the days that I saw Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights more than I remember the movies, and so
yeah. It takes place in like the West in the 19th century. Why is it called Shanghai Noon?
Well, there's the movie High Noon, and it's a pun on that. Because he's from Shanghai.
Because he's Asian? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's address maybe that right off the bat. These movies have questionable stereotypes, racism. They try to be progressive by having racist characters, but I feel like the real racist characters were behind the camera. So, just to nip that in the butt, some of these things have some real questionable things. And I guess we'll talk about that more with Rush Hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. It is just a pun on that. Like High Noon, Shanghai Noon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you know that? Got it. Yeah. I figured it wouldn't necessarily be anything deeper than that.
No, pretty surface level.
Apparently, Shanghai Noon, lots of it was filmed in near Drumheller, Alberta.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive. Nice. Go see them dinosaurs in Drumheller. Anyone that's not Canadian, that's the only thing in Drumheller, maybe the only thing in Alberta outside of Edmonton.
Yeah, I've always
And
been
Calgary.
told to go see
Calgary.
the dinosaurs in Drumheller, but I've never. Oh, what's the Wi-Fi knows what we're talking about? Climb
Oh,
the
yeah.
giant dino statue.
Yeah, the dinos. Gotta check out the dinos in Drumheller. Yeah, if you're there.
Have you been there?
Me personally, no, but I may know someone that has been. I don't know.
Yeah. I haven't been there either, but frankly, I don't really want to go. It's a long drive, isn't it?
Yeah, like I think I've driven through it or by it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's when me and Brooke we go to Saskatchewan, I think that. Not sure if it's on one of the major routes, but
Hell yeah, it doesn't matter, man. You're making a stop.
yeah, right.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So
Ooh,
yeah, movie.
Shanghai.
Yeah. Yeah.
Filmed
It's
in
okay,
Drumheller.
right? It's fine, right?
It's like all right. I guess it's one of the better movies filmed in Drumheller.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I remember the first. It is fine. It's the Diet Coke of movies. Like
Yeah.
anytime. Like I'm guessing it's someone's guilty pleasure, but it's not mine. But I don't think it's anyone's favorite movie. And if it is, run away from that person, or show them some movies. They've seen maybe 2 movies, like Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights.
Yeah.
But I do remember seeing them both in theaters. Like I was the prime audience. Like, and when I go, like when I was a kid and seeing those movies, I wasn't hypercritical as movies yet. Like I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker, so I was a little critical, but still like very surface. So like if I thought the trailer was funny, I probably thought the movie was okay, because I was like, oh, there's the joke in the trailer. It's like you'd kind of giggle at that and like be kind of maybe bored during the movie, but not quite realize it, and then when it's over, be like, oh, I guess that was fine. Like, that was kind of the movie, like, I guess. That's how I felt about Shanghai Noon when I was, like, 9. And then I think similarly to Shanghai Nights, I saw with one of my friends. Yeah, and I think it was, like, funny-ish, but we weren't really watching the movie that, like, not closely at all.
Yeah, I have fond days of like when I was a kid. It's like we were kids at this time, and like you just want to like order a pizza and watch like 4 movies with your friends on a Friday night, and like this is one of the movies in that lineup, and your expectations, if they're not too high, they're just whatever. That was fun. That was good enough.
Hey, if you lower your expectations really low, you might have an okay time with the Shanghai series.
Yeah. Apparently, this movie, Shanghai Noon, hit the box office the same weekend as Mission Impossible 2 and Dinosaur. Do you remember that movie, Dinosaur?
I do. I remember seeing that in theater. Yeah. I saw all 3 of those in theaters, actually.
No kidding.
Yeah. Hey, it was hot in Tucson. Not much to do there. You got to go see every movie.
I hear you. Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's it. There's
probably more to say about them, but there isn't much more to say.
Yeah.
Like what's the Wi-Fi? Have you seen your grandma owned Dinosaur on VHS?
Whoa.
I feel like I saw Dinosaur with my grandma.
That's a movie you'd see with your grandma, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Or at least I saw the trailer for the first time with the movie with my grandma. I think you've seen it like 25 times. Nice. Have you seen Shanghai, any of the Shanghai movies?
Even a fraction of that many times?
Yeah, right? even like 20% of those, still a lot. Five times would be just insane.
Apparently, Aiden...
I'll have to give it a go.
Aiden Gillen was in Shanghai Nights, the guy who plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones.
Oh, hey, Game of Thrones.
What do you
That's
know?
a TV show that people talk about that I haven't seen.
Oh, really?
No, I have yet to see Game of Thrones. I know that's blasphemous, but
I
no.
mean, yeah, I'm sure you've heard how it ended, and maybe it ain't
Yeah,
so
sounds great.
blasphemous
Sounds like
anymore.
everyone loves it. No way.
I mean, I didn't have a massive problem with the ending. Like, I didn't think it was great, but I thought that it was very realistic with like, it's like a train that's like, it's like the movie Speed, where this bus is going super fast, and there's only like one perfect
That'll blow
way
up.
there's only one perfect way to like solve that problem, and it's most likely just gonna explode in flames. And, you know, Game of Thrones was speed where he didn't stop the bus. But
the best TV shows rarely end
you get what you
well.
give, right?
Yeah, right? I mean, TV shows peter out after a certain amount. Either keep it short or it's going to peter out and get terrible. Dexter, same way. Love Dexter. My all-time favorite shows. Oof. Boy, did it take a fucking turn.
Yeah.
What are we here to talk about, though? Dexter or Shanghai?
My last thing on Game of Thrones, so my theory is that they, like, only had the actors for so long on their contracts, and they couldn't renew them, and then they realized they had to, like, close all these loose ends in, like, 2 seasons or some shit, and then they were just, like, scrambling to finish it all off, and that's what really screwed it in the end.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, they were just like... I mean, you had Aquaman. I mean, he probably had a really busy schedule at that point. I'll come in for a couple of close-ups. You know? So,
I won't say too much, but it's very clear that you haven't seen Game of Thrones if
Aquaman's dead at that point. Was he killed, like, second season? Just like, he's expensive and busy. We gotta fucking kill him first minute.
Yeah, Aquaman, I haven't seen it. I don't even really like superhero movies. It's very rare that I'll see them. I will see some of them, and I haven't seen any of the Avengers movies, and, like, it's too much for me.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen Aquaman because I just assumed that wouldn't be great.
I saw Aquaman in theaters in Saskatoon.
Nice.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's so bad. It looks weird. It is weird. I don't know. We could break down Aquaman some other time. I think you should check out Aquaman just in a bubble.
All right.
It's so fucking bad. It's like, oh boy.
I will. I think the real question is, have you seen that season of Entourage where the main character is playing Aquaman in a fake movie making of it?
Yeah, and I believe Kevin Smith is directing Aquaman too.
Really?
Yeah. That's I think what was a gag on the show or something like that.
Yeah.
I do remember that season.
Yeah. Jason Momoa seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, you know, thumbs up to him. I like his Super Bowl commercial, you know?
Oh,
he's a fine actor.
All skinny and then he puts his, like, body on or whatever. Yeah.
Funny stuff.
He's funny stuff. And he's
big guy goes small guy go big, funny.
Yeah, his partner is, what's her name? Liza
Minnelli?
Jeez. I want to say so she's famous too, but she was Lenny Kravitz was her former partner, and she's like I think like 10 years older than him, and she's smoking, like, he's doing well, and, you know,
she smokes.
I respect you know, he's going after the older ladies, so
into the mature ladies, that one.
It's kind of weird. He's got, like, a sponsorship from Red or something like that. Have you seen this? He has, like, a YouTube channel where he, like, does promo videos for Red.
Like YouTube Red?
No, like Red, the camera company.
Oh, wait, really?
I know, right?
What? That's so specific. What is he,
They made him a custom Red camera with, like, sick, like, golden pieces on it.
This is something he's into? Good for him.
I know, right? That's what that was my first thought too. So, like, I think he likes to, like, ride his motorcycles, and so, like, he like it was like a promo vlog where he's like, oh, like, this Red camera can survive the elements. Like, I made this, like, sick video on the road with my boys or whatever, and they're like riding around their motorcycles, and he's like got his Red camera to make this, like, movie for them.
Fuck, showing off his gear, the Red cam. Oh man,
it's like very bizarre, because I was like, oh, that's kind of weird that, like, it's so
specific.
Like, do you really think that, like, up and coming cinematographers who may buy that camera are, like, glued to Jason Momoa as, like, a even that, using it, But it's like, oh, if Jason Momoa likes them, like, me as an up and coming cinematographer trusts it now.
Yeah, let's see his review video. What's Jason Momoa's unboxing video on that?
He has one, dude. He's got one. Oh,
fuck, that's amazing. I love it. I hope he's walking up to, like, cam ops on set and being like, "Yo, what you shooting on? Is that an Alexa? Yo, you like Alexa or Red?
Is that a Momoa edition Red? Like, you know, like, what? Like, I don't know, man. I don't even know how I found it, but dude, and it looks like he's got, like, a Harley Davidson. Leica. He's got like a vlog that's like a Leica commercial apparently too. Like the brass Komodo. So Red makes this Komodo like for him.
Wow.
With like a brass case or something like that.
That's fucking wild. I love that Jason Momoa is now like a spokesperson for Red.
It's so weird and like Harley. Yeah, he's basically got like a lot of like product placement. I mean, his videos are good, and it seems like he actually puts effort into like what he has to say. But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about, I guess.
Oh, okay, yeah. But that's fucking wild, though.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah.
I hope they only use Red on set because of that. Yo, ditch that film, yo. We're gonna shoot
like
it.
we need to use that brass Komodo.
It's like we have a nice IMAX scene. We need to shoot that. No. We're using Red for this fucker. Sorry.
It's so funny though, because like he's just like, yeah, like Red hit me up and sent me this sick custom brass Komodo. Like, thanks, Red. And I'm like, what do you mean they hit you up so you can do what with
Red
it? Like,
fuck. I thought like maybe their phones, but wow, their cameras. That's funny.
Yeah.
Boy, does Jackie Chan have a Red vlog as well?
No.
Oh, boy.
Jackie's all about the stunts. Okay. The Shanghai series. I think on the Jackie Chan scale, I think it's a fair B because it's just straight down the middle. It is what it is, and it's not bad. It's just like
it is so like flavorless though. It's so bland. I agree. B. You know, not
on
not
the Jackie
bad,
Chan
but
movie
bland.
scale.
Yeah, definitely. And on the regular movie scale, D. Mm-hmm. I probably.
That's fair.
I mean the D like encompasses a lot of different Ds, but
yeah,
or different levels.
Okay. Well, should we get into Rush Hour? What's the Wi-Fi did say? That's what everyone's waiting for.
Boy, should we do it? There's a lot to unpack here. Let's do it. You know what? Maybe before we get into that, let's just talk What's the
to
Wi-Fi?
Drunken
It's
Master
like, I'm ready.
2. Sorry, what's the Wi-Fi? let's do Drunken Master 2.
All right.
Yeah, let's leave these two meaty ones for last.
What's the Wi-Fi? Oh boy, sorry. What's the Wi-Fi?
Drunken Master 2. So this was actually a request of mine to put on the list because I have seen this movie, and I sought it out. I think if I remember correctly, it would have been I think my 11th birthday party. Like I remember, it's like when you're like a kid,
nice.
and then everyone like you get a bunch of movies from Rogers Video. Everyone like tries to pull an all-nighter watching them, and then I remember it was like we got through like whatever 6 movies maybe. Kind of fell asleep for a few hours, and then like when like my parents are making everybody breakfast, we put on the Drunken Master, and I remember it just being called the Drunken Master, but like the first one was from the 70s, and like I kind of looked it up, and I'm sure that I saw the one from 1994, the Drunken Master 2, because like it was like old when I saw it, but it wasn't like 70s old. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet movie. Like I as like a kid and trying to like find Jackie Chan movies and like martial arts movies specifically, people were talking about like how cool the martial arts was in the Drunken Master. And so I mean like coming off that first one where it kind of like made famous his style, like he takes it even further here. Like there's just so much like there's a lot of cool stunts, and like the fluidity of what he's doing is like super fun to watch compared to like just your regular action movie. Yeah, our blood vessels were sure pumped with like all sorts of candy and all sorts of shit. And there's just all these like hilarious scenes where like he's drunk and then someone like splashes water on his face to like wake him up, and then he goes and like fights a bad guy for the town or something. Like it's just like really funny. It's like the village idiot meets like the village protector. It's awesome.
Did you get a sense that was it made more for Western audiences, or was this more one of his straight up Hong Kong movies? So
this was still a Hong Kong movie because it's been so long since I've seen it, but I do remember it was not in English at all. And I think though at this point, right, like I guess man, apparently in 2005, The Drunken Master 2 was named one of the top 100 best films of all time by Time magazine. And then the British Film Institute in 2015 said it was one of the best 10 action movies of all time.
What?
I'm like looking at this now.
Never seen it.
Yeah, so this is what it was. This is the reason I don't know it as The Drunken Master 2 is because when it was released in North America, it was released as The Legend of the Drunken Master.
Yeah, I bet.
Like the first one was just like a wash. Like
yeah, a lot of those foreign movies. I mean,
you know, like they're like, oh, this is the one, and I don't believe that it's actually a sequel. But yeah, I'm reading here. So the fight scenes in martial arts, there's several fight scenes where you can actually observe different fighting styles. And like, yeah, you can totally see like different characters with different fighting styles. And it's just like, there's tons of like just really cool, unique martial arts action. And like, there's a ton of comedy with the whole like drunken master character.
I believe that.
Yeah, like honestly, it's fun. And like, I should say like it's mixing comedy and martial arts, but it's like not in, because, like, you know, you could say that of, like, his shitty kids movies of the 2000s, like, are doing those things. But it's just very refreshing to, like, not see it from, like, a fucking Hollywood producer's eye where it's like, okay, now this is what's going to be funny. And then this is what's going to be action. And then this is that, like, it's all, at one point, it all just kind of becomes the same jokes and shit with, like, if you're only watching these, like, big budget Hollywood movies that don't want to take risks or whatever. Whereas, like, this is just, like, coming from a different cultural perspective, what's funny, and it's just fun to watch. Like, I do recommend it.
I haven't seen it, but you're right. Like, they do have that very definitive, like, here's the fighting, here's the punchline in America. But in those movies, you see a lot more of those facial expressions while it's going on. Like, yeah. Like, it's super funny and, like, well connected and really physical.
Yeah, and, you know, like, to be fair, I'm sure if I watch, like, a ton of his, like, Hong Kong action movies, there will be a formula that, like, I decipher there. But it's just different, right? And, like,
it's
for
a better
me,
formula.
Yeah, and that I can pretty much guarantee because, like, I can guarantee that they're going to be taking more risks production to production.
It's true. You're just more invested. As soon as they start doing, like, real stunts where people are getting injured and fucked up, I mean, then the investment goes up. I mean, you don't really need to suspend your disbelief when you're actually seeing something really happen.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's like, I think it's, like, very worth the watch, especially, like, if you're like me and, like, you're a kid that grew up with, like, Jackie Chan North American movies. You know, I think you'll enjoy this because, like, if you like him and you want to see something kind of different, yeah, it's a great movie. I think I would honestly give it A tier here. You know what I'm reserving for S tier, but
you better believe it.
Yeah, if I were to recommend, like, I haven't seen too many Jackie Chan movies, but if I were to, like, recommend something to someone to just, like, hey, you want to see Jackie Chan but you want to see him, like, in a different light, like, check out The Legend of the Drunken Master, or known as The Drunken Master 2.
I gotta check it out then. I haven't seen it, and that is definitely one that has popped up while doing research for this. That and Police Story, or at least Police Story 1 and Police Story 4, where he, like, gets electrocuted while, like, jumping down the lights. That's wild. Boy, so that's an A tier. Should we talk about Rush Hour before the one after that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one's not going to be A tier, I can tell you that much for sure.
Yeah.
What's the Wi-Fi? I think we're finally getting to it. Yeah, yes.
Here we are. So,
do we need to talk about anything before, though? Do we need to delay this anymore?
Let's see. We addressed Jackie Chan's relationship with his son already.
Oh, but I feel like we could talk a lot more about that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Rush Hour. I mean, fuck. It's one of those things, too, where, like, when you're a kid and you watch it and you don't, like, really understand... You're not, like, privy to, like, stereotypes or, like, frankly, like, racism that's being applied in these movies, or even just, like, Hollywood safety systems and, like, all these things that kind of play into, like, how truly great of an, like, piece of art the movie's gonna be or not. Like, you know, you kind of, like, you're like, well, that was great, like, when you don't know any better. But then, like, recently, having watched Rush Hour 3 together...
Woo!
as adults, and like having like fond memories of the Rush Hour series, and then being like, shit, this did not age well. It changes things, right?
To be fair, when the third one came out into theaters when I was younger, I remember avoiding it, knowing like this is gonna be painful and brutal.
Yeah, I never saw the third one, but that wasn't because I was smart enough. It was just because like I just never got around to it.
Because I knew Roman Polanski was in it, and I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, special. What's he? A special agent in France? Conveniently.
Yeah, just a little shout out to Roman. I'm glad he's getting some roles. Ugh. Jeez. So, but yeah, like you said, like the first one, it does have some like really questionable things, and like let's say it didn't. Let's say the best case scenario, it's still like a knockoff, or not a knockoff. It's still like a version of 48 Hours. It's still like the buddy cop franchise had been done to death by that point. Like it died with Cop and a Half in 1993. And this didn't reinvigorate the formula or anything like that, in my personal opinion. So it was like, it was a dead horse. The action was like watered down Jackie Chan action. The jokes were really broad. When they weren't doing stereotypes, they were just doing like the most obvious gags at the time. The first one had a lot more going for it than like the other two, obviously, and the third one like really is like quite appallingly bad. But like, and also like Jackie Chan didn't even like working on them. He hated, like I said, he hated doing the stunts in America. He didn't like, directors didn't know how to edit him, as he's even said that. He didn't get the humor, but he made a shitload of money for them. Like they made so much money, so he kept coming back.
Yeah.
But like the third one though has, like I said, Roman Polanski, and they sexualized the girl from the first one and the third one. So like in the first movie, it's all about like, I think like saving a kidnapped girl, and that girl is then like in the third one, and she's like older now. She's like in her 20s, and then Chris Tucker is like all goo-goo for her and thinks she's like super hot and makes jokes about it. And yeah, she's a little kid in the first one. I was like, oh, it's a little creepy, but
yeah, it's so I'm looking at the first one here. It did make some money. The budget was about like 33 to 35 million, and it made
like 300, right? It's got
yeah, it made $244.4 million.
Nice. Okay, not honestly not as much as I would have thought, but that's still a shit ton. I mean, you got to make a sequel for that, and I'm sure the sequel made similar.
Yeah, I'm sure that one, honestly, it probably made even more. Yep, it made 347 million.
And what about the third one? I feel like the third one would have made a little less.
Yeah, I feel like that too, having seen it recently.
Wouldn't be shocked if it was still like a hit, because I think they're still maybe going to make a fourth one. They keep threatening that once in a while.
No kidding.
Does anyone know if Chris Tucker has
258 million.
Yeah, that's less. There we go.
But still,
and the budget was probably higher. I bet the budget though was like 80.
Oh
like
man, the budget
million.
was 125 to 140 million, somewhere in that range.
Oh, so that didn't make that much.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Does Chris Tucker have any weird son issues?
I have no idea. Probably. Actually, no. I think Chris Tucker was kind of smart. So like, he wasn't in many movies in like 1997 to 2007. I think maybe he was only in the Rush Hour movies. Because he was like asking for $20 million a movie. But the Rush Hour movies were successful enough that they were willing to pay that. And he got to work less, and he said he just like took that, like apparently he took the Rush Hour money that he made on these ridiculous high paydays and traveled the world with his family.
Wow.
I'm not entirely sure if there's any validity to like all of that, but that's a little bit of what I've read.
Man, I didn't realize. So Chris Tucker's 49, Jackie Chan's 67.
Whoa!
So he's actually like 17 years younger than him.
Whoa! I would have thought maybe they're in the same 10 years. That's pretty wild.
No, he's like 17 years younger than him. So when they would have done the movie, like...
Oh, Chris Tucker also appeared in... yeah, I mean, to be fair, everyone's appeared in Epstein's contact. I think I'm even in Epstein's contact book, so, you know. But, no, it's horrible, though. That is really brutal. Damn. I didn't know about that. If I'd known about that, maybe I would have put airs on this, or you know, but mentioned something. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Chris
Also,
Tucker.
you know, considering how they sexualized the kid from the first one, that doesn't fucking surprise me. And Brett Ratner has some iffy accusations out for him too. Adds a dark layer to Rush Hour. It does, because I think there's human trafficking as subplots in Rush Hour.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason why Jackie Chan really didn't like working on them. But hey, yeah, and they were cool with Roman Polanski. God, this
Can
is
we
a
just
really
talk about Chris
series.
Penn for a sec? He was in the first
poor
Rush
Chris
Hour.
Penn. Oh,
Poor Chris
boy.
Penn, yeah.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. He must have, like I know he died from an enlarged heart. Is that like code for like a lot of cocaine in the 80s?
Yeah, I mean,
Probably, right?
one
Like
can
I hate to like say
assume.
that, but like I think like
he had
that makes
Valium,
sense.
morphine, and marijuana, and elevated level of codeine were found in his bloodstream.
Oh, it was the weed. Like, yeah, he had all those things, and I bet he smoked that little joint,
Yeah,
and that
all
just
that
tipped it
reefer.
over. That reefer madness.
Yeah,
Hey,
we've been
we
there,
saw a
done
movie
that.
on the danger. Oh yeah. Oh, brutal. Haha. The pot. Yeah, I agree. The pot will kill you.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So Rush Hour, yeah, I mean,
You,
was
when you
what
have,
it was.
Yeah, like when you have modern day Roman Polanski in your fucking movie, oof, you can't get. To me, it's C tier
Yeah,
from
and
the
like
third one alone.
there's just like so many things that prohibited it from being like an interesting movie or like a good piece of art, like the objectification of women, just
Yeah,
like
some transphobia.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
to be fair,
hardcore.
Ace Ventura also had some transphobia. I'm not sure if we mentioned that when we praised Ace Ventura. It had some transphobia and some real tough stuff.
Yeah,
But Rush Hour 3 also it's like a bigger sub.
and the thing though is like the characters just like aren't written well. Like they're just like not
like,
deep,
it's not
and
funny,
like
it's not
you
good.
can see that they're writing characters to fit the gags they have in mind or the like set pieces they have in mind more so than like an interesting character and coming up with a set piece for that character. Like there's just like inconsistencies in the character, and like something that really got me when we watched Rush Hour 3 is so Jackie Chan's character has this half brother. And
right.
that guy is speaking Japanese in the movie while Jackie Chan is speaking Chinese, and it's just like they're like speaking to each other but in different languages, and I'm like, do they really think that the audience is that fucking dumb that like they're just like not even gonna question? Like I only know this because I like know a little bit of Japanese, I guess, but so I looked it up because I was like, man, other people must have had it, because anyone who knows either language is going to know right away. It's like terrible.
Yeah.
But apparently they like justified in the story because his half brother is Japanese. And so apparently both characters know both languages, but then they speak to each other in different languages. I'm like, no, that means you just had an actor who like, I guess was Japanese, and you just like made him speak Japanese, or maybe I don't know, maybe it sounds like there was a production issue there.
it sounds like lack of care. They're just like, we're gonna subtitle this anyway, so you can say whatever the fuck you want. we're gonna use this as a way to explain the whole plot, all of the plot holes that we have so far. Yeah, we're gonna figure those out in editing and just dump them all into this one explanation. So you guys can say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I think that movie was made for like a trailer full of gags that would get people into the theater to spend their money and have a few laughs and go home.
Worked, kind of. It worked a little less for this one, but
it worked. But in terms of how good the movie is and what tier it should be on, I don't think it should be all that high.
oh, I'm gonna say C.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Sweet.
I think it's right on par there with those. I think that it had the same motivations behind it as those terrible 2000s kids movies.
Yeah, cha-ching.
So, Ed, we've got one movie left on the list.
Woo! It's the good one.
Okay, so Rumble in the Bronx. This movie has a
baby.
very special place in my heart. And the reason I wanted to, when you're talking about Project A, I wanted to kind of come back to that because I realized that the movie may or like, I think that inevitably, right, like part of our like subjective opinion of the movies that we like or don't like has a lot to do with like where we were at the time, or what kind of a person we were at the time, that like what stage of life we were in when we like watched them, you know? And like there's those personal anecdotes to it. And I just remember like watching this movie as a kid. So the reason that I actually even heard about this movie and then like rented it from the video store was because my kickboxing instructor when I was a kid is in this movie, and he's an actual character. He's got a couple words and some stuff happens to him, and so I was like super stoked to pick up the movie and watch it. And then of course like I absolutely loved it because I really looked up to this guy.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, in this movie, and it was all filmed here. It's a Hong Kong action movie that was filmed in Vancouver. It's supposed to take place in the Bronx.
We've shot stuff in the same parking lot roof as they did.
Yeah, like so much fun. And so, anyways, my relationship to this movie is very anecdotal, and like because it holds a special place in my heart for reasons that aren't necessarily about the movie itself. But Rumble in the Bronx. This is a movie that's supposed to take place in the Bronx in New York City.
Looks nothing like it.
And yeah, Jackie Chan's character gets mixed up with these. So he's a detective.
I'm not even sure if he is a cop, actually.
No, he's not. I think he gets mixed up because he's got his.
He pretends to be a cop for one scene, I think, in like a stairwell. He's just like, I'm a cop, to like get some people to like run away.
Yeah, that's right. Because you watched it recently, right?
Yeah. Semi recently. I couldn't tell you what he is, but yeah, he is over in the Bronx to visit family.
So this is what it is.
China.
He's a Hong Kong cop who comes to New York.
Ah, there we go. That explains it.
Yeah, to attend a wedding.
They barely play that up in the movie.
I know,
like they never like.
I feel like
they don't talk about it.
I feel like in like a third of his like Hong Kong movies, he's like a Hong Kong cop for some reason.
Yeah, right. Like, think about it. I was like, oh wow, I thought he was just like he's like visiting his uncle or something, right? At like the supermarket that he owns or works at. Like. Yeah. So, that's pretty funny. Yeah, so he like goes over to visit them, and then there's like a gang nearby that just kind of start like causing havoc in the supermarket. He clashes with them, and basically they go back and forth. But that's kind of a red herring to who the bad guy is, because then there's an even bigger gang that smaller gang messes with. I believe they steal some of their diamonds from like a car that gets shot up. And then that bigger gang wants that littler gang dead, and Jackie Chan, luckily, in like one scene, it becomes friends with the gang somehow. So like they kind of like work together for the last little bit to go against that big gang.
Yeah, it's a great way to premise the movie. Yeah, it's yeah, it is what it is. It's a bunch of action.
The action kicks ass.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, and like there's like some funny moments and stuff too, and just like. So to me, what's so interesting about this movie, something that's very strange. Well, first of all, the movie's supposed to take place in the Bronx, but like if you're a person who's ever been to New York City, you'll immediately be able to tell that it's not taking place in New York City, because there's all these scenes that are very like obviously Vancouver. Like you see like mountains in the background. You see mountains in the background when he's like in the park, and it's like obviously there are no mountains in the Bronx, but like they don't even go like. I don't know if they messed up or they just didn't even give a shit when they were. They
didn't care. They didn't care. They're just shooting on they're literally shooting on Jericho Beach, and the camera's pointed right towards West Van. It's insane.
Yeah, I guess because it was primarily for a Hong Kong audience, so like they don't even know the difference.
Like, they delivered on the action? I think their main thing was like is the action framed well rather than like what's the background in the framing?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. And there, man, like, yeah, speaking of like the supermarket, there's some awesome action scenes there.
That is crazy. That supermarket destruction was impressive. It looks like they legit destroyed a real building. Like maybe they didn't, but it looked amazing. Like I think they did. A little ridiculous, the actual scene. Like this is like the big gang is trying to like destroy Jackie Chan. And they like rig up all these chains to his uncle's supermarket on the inside and outside, and then like one tow truck I think like rips it down, which is insane because they're just like upstairs talking for a few minutes, and this gang comes in and rigs this elaborate system of chains in like maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's so good. And
but it looks like dope. It's great.
Yeah, it does. It's so cool. And like they even like have some comedy bits like within that when like the shopkeeper's like on the toilet or whatever, and, like, the wall
and it's
gets
so
ripped out, and like
he doesn't want to look while she's on the toilet because now you can see.
Yeah, like great. Just like all sorts of funny stuff. And there's some pretty wild like motorcycle stunts if I remember, like cool like motorcycle jumps and shit. And so my kickboxing instructor, his name is Lance Gibson, and he played this character who's one of the small gang members. But then when they're messing with the big gang, they send a message by capturing him and then feeding him through a wood chipper. And then like basically the other guy like takes back the bag of his remains. And yeah, it was kind of awesome. Like, so
that's pre-Fargo too. Pre-Fargo wood chipping. Dude. That's good.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that was the first time I saw a movie where a character gets put through a wood chipper.
Fargo came out like 2 years later, so I'm willing to bet that Coen saw that. Maybe consciously or subconsciously put it in Fargo.
Yeah, gee, right? So something that I noticed in the movie is that my kickboxing instructor's voice was like, because he has like 2 lines or something, and it was like not his voice. It was this like deep voice. He kind of had like almost like a Mike Tyson type voice, and at first I just kind of thought that like they like dubbed over his voice because they didn't like his voice or something. That's what I had assumed.
To avoid paying him?
Yeah, geez, right? Yeah, most likely. But so this movie, like, I've got some fun facts to share about it in general, but
oh baby, I love fun
this
facts.
movie, funny enough, was actually redubbed for the American release. So it was filmed here in Canada, and apparently like all of the actors just spoke their native languages. So like the Canadian actors for the most part were speaking English.
They're speaking Canadian?
Speaking Canadian. Apparently Jackie Chan spoke Cantonese entirely in the movie.
Oh wow.
So it makes it kind of strange because it's like, think about like a scene where like he's interacting with like most of these actors, and they're not actually even like speaking to each other really.
Well, yeah, and I thought like while watching it today, I thought like they were mimicking like the mouth movement. I thought they were speaking English in some of it.
Yeah.
In the opening scene, he establishes to his uncle something like, "How's your English?" as like a way to transition, I think, for the Hong Kong audience and the American audience from like Cantonese to English. I thought they were legit speaking English from then on, but
yeah, I mean, maybe he did speak some. What I read is apparently he personally spoke Cantonese.
I believe it
throughout the movie. But then basically they did all that, but then they like dubbed it all into Cantonese for the actual movie release, and then they redubbed it into English for the North American release. So like I don't even know why. I guess maybe they weren't capturing proper sound on the actors or something like that. Like I don't know why they didn't just like use what people's own voices. But maybe they just like weren't planning on it or something, or they just like, oh, we'll just dub it again. So like I guess that obviously Jackie Chan did his own voice, but like I guess a bunch of the characters aren't actually those actors' voices. Like
that makes sense, you know. Like, especially some of those shots that are like super wide and you got a lot of choreography and it doesn't cut. Imagine like, and some have dialogue in those same shots. Could you imagine like trying to get a boom in there, getting clean sound? It just doesn't seem too practical.
Yeah.
So that makes sense as to why they might do all that in post.
Yeah, that makes sense. A few fun facts here that I've just been reading on the internet. So apparently, this is what Roger Ebert said about this movie. Any attempt to defend this movie on rational grounds is futile.
That's true.
Don't tell me about the plot and the dialogue. Don't dwell on the acting. The whole point is Jackie Chan. And like Fred Astaire or Ginger Rogers, he does what he does better than anybody.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? Let's for a minute talk about some of this dialogue. Like, so there is one scene of dialogue with one of the couple of ladies that are interested in Jackie Chan. And believe me, there are a couple. There is like, so he like essentially like saves one in an action scene, saves the damsel in distress, and it cuts to them like in front of some buildings in a silhouette at night of like New York City, and it is literally just seconds of dialogue. And I have the quotes like right here. It is like basically verbatim this, like, you need to spend more time with your brother. You're right. I need to change. Do you have a girlfriend? And then she kisses him, and that's the end of the scene. That's the beginning and the end of that scene. It is just like, it is so weird and like, oh boy. And the plot, like it, you can't talk about the plot because it's not even thin. It's beyond thin. It doesn't even exist. Like, you know, it is all about like delivering on the action. He is right. But if we do want to talk about the plot, Jackie Chan literally stumbles into scenes. Like, he just shows up where they are, and it causes a fight. He doesn't even, like, go there looking for a fight either. He will just, like, show up, and the gang is also there, and he's like, oh, and they'll just, like, start fighting. Like, so the gang for the first half, like, the gang at some point in the first half have him, like, cornered up, and they're starting to, like, beat him. It's where they, like, kicking bottles at him.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool scene. But then they stop, like, they, like, I think start arguing amongst themselves, but, like, this, like, the main gang leader was basically, like, saying the other one, he's had enough. Like, we're just kicking we're not here to shoot him. We're just, like, we're done here. But then the next day, they find him again outside. Like, they camp outside of outside the supermarket, and, like, he comes outside, and they start trying to kick the shit out of him. Like, they were done with him. I thought they proved their point, but I think they just need to continue it. So they like literally just did. They just like were just like, no, fuck it.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I am a big fan, and I love that one of the big subplots of the movie was like the kid in the wheelchair, his cushion.
Yeah.
Like the kid goes on and on about this fucking cushion. Like there's a kid in a wheelchair in the movie, and it's the brother to one of the, I think, the girlfriends of the small gang, and so he's disabled, and he like whines about not whines. He's disabled until they like earns this cushion, so he's not really whining. But either way,
Yeah.
But he talks about wanting this cushion, and it's like the biggest subplot, and the cushion itself is like portrayed as a character. Like the screams that the kid gives when the cushion is cut up was insane. Like he goes on about this fucking cushion, and then Jackie Chan thinks that like the diamonds are like stored in there at some point. So like the bad guys go and they like grab his cushion. The kid's like, no, and they like cut open the cushion. He's like, no. But it's like, it's a fucking cushion. Calm down.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that too, hitting me pretty hard. Like, what is going on?
They humanized the cushion. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I love that they did. Like it is like it's batshit in like kind of the right way.
Yeah.
And, oh boy. So like, so I'm gonna kind of spoil it. If apologies. But the bad guy, excuse me, gets run over by a hovercraft in the end. There's a big like hovercraft chase down around Tinseltown.
Yeah, it's dope, man. It's so dope.
It is really awesome. I highly recommend this. They put a hovercraft in the middle of Tinseltown and had it crash into shit. 100%. There was no faking some of that stuff. Like it wasn't model work. It was legit. And a lot of Tinseltown doesn't look too different now. I mean, it's called something different, but it looks very similar. But either way, so this giant craft runs over the bad guy while he's on a golf course. and like it rips off his clothes, so the bad guy's like laying like in the ground, like nude, covered in mud, and then it cuts to Jackie Chan and like everyone smiling and laughing, and ends on a freeze frame. Like, it's a terrific and a terrible way to end it. I love that like they ended it on this like light joke of like the bad guy's nude with his butt out, and they had like a wood chipper murder earlier in the movie. I'm like, your tone is so weird and different through this, but I love it. And then why did the FBI allow him to drive that hovercraft? Like, like, so Jackie Chan is like on his own. He may be like a Hong Kong cop, but he is like a citizen when he's over there, and he's like just kind of coincidentally in this big like caught up in this FBI versus gang, shootout, and the FBI like allow him to take this hovercraft and catch the main bad guy in the final scene. It's so insane, and the bad guys are like shooting at him, so they like put a civilian in danger, like no problem. So, but like Roger Ebert said, that's getting into the plot, and that would be ridiculous to do. But the action scene's kicked ass, and the hovercraft scene is so great. And I recommend it. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much impressive stuff in this movie that it gets over any flaw that it has.
It's quite it's quite a roller coaster ride, that's for sure. Yeah, so I'm reading some fun facts about it here. And so another thing too, so apparently the director Stanley Tong kind of has this like rule that he won't make a stunt person do something that he wouldn't do himself first, because he's apparently a trained like stunt performer.
Vince McMahon logic, I love it. It's good.
Yeah, so apparently in this movie, because there's like that rooftop parking lot jump that he does. And it's like a 28-foot drop, like it's a real jump that Jackie Chan did.
Yeah.
And apparently Stanley Tong did it first.
Oh, hey, good for him. That's awesome. Did he biff it? Did he break his ankle?
No. Well, apparently he did it with like a harness and wires and stuff. And then like he wanted to get Jackie Chan to do it that way, but Jackie Chan wouldn't do it that way because he wanted it to look more realistic.
Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like Jackie Chan.
Yeah, and I think on that note, apparently he ended the movie in a wheelchair. Because he was so injured. He broke his ankle.
Oh, boy.
Jumping onto that hovercraft from the pier. At one point, he broke his ankle. And so he continued shooting, and he was in a cast and for some of the last scenes and stuff. And they like painted the cast to look like a shoe. And they would just like, apparently in outtakes, you can actually see the cast on his foot.
Oh, okay. Did they like do some digital work as well?
I don't think so. I think they just like avoided like getting a foot shot or something like that.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, apparently even like some of the filming at the end, so for his like close-ups on chase scenes, he was actually like kneeling on his wheelchair and just like moving his arms, and he wasn't even running because he was like so injured.
That's fucking wild.
Like, yeah, they were like doing that, and he was just like, yeah, he was super injured. But one other fun fact about Stanley Tong, it says here that he's only ever directed one English language film.
Oh, nice.
I don't think you're going to get it, but I will give you a hint. It has been mentioned on this stream.
Oh, boy. It's an action movie, yeah?
Actually, that is debatable. We debated about whether it's an action movie or not.
Oh, jeez, really? Oh, man. Can I get a lead actor? No, that'd give it away.
That would give it away. Yep, that would give it away.
Oh, this is tough. I'm gonna action movies that may not be action movies.
I think we talked about it 2 streams ago.
2 streams ago. All right. 2 streams ago, that would have been. Got something.
It's not at all like this movie, so.
Oh man, I'm just thinking like the bottom of that iceberg. Oh,
so
boy.
I think it was in the top half because it would have been. Oh yeah, I guess it was 3 streams ago. Sorry.
3 streams. Okay. Top half the iceberg. Did he do Titanic?
You got me.
Oh man, I would I am drawing a blank, and I don't want to make this
Yeah.
a painful watch for our viewers, but boy, I'm gonna
So
go
let's
ahead.
okay, I'll give you one more hint.
Yeah,
You
okay,
had this
all right.
as a category of movies within the iceberg. This was like a category of movies with a particular actor, and then I brought up a particular movie, and you were like, I don't know if that counts in this.
I was gatekeeping the category. Oh boy, man, that didn't help, honestly. Oh boy, I'm
The
drawing a
movie
blank.
is Mr. Magoo.
Whoa, that, I would never have gotten that one. I was thinking like Nick Cage or something like
no,
with Nick
I was
Cage.
like, I would be really surprised if you got
Mr.
that.
Magoo?
Apparently, he directed Mr. Magoo with Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, that is absolutely an action movie. Kick-ass action movie, too. That is fucking mind-blowing, though. I believe that's shot around here, too. I mean, I can't 100% guarantee, but I think it is. I think you see the Mick Barge in there at some point or something.
Yeah, it was shortly after the success of Rumble in the Bronx. Tong made his first and to this day only English language film,
Oh, boy. Good.
Mr. Magoo.
That was horrible. That was a taste of what he was going to... What a decline.
Yeah.
Oh, to go from Rumble in the fucking Bronx, which is a competently like shot movie. He may not understand lenses and when to use lenses, but it was a kick-ass movie, and I don't know. That clearly shows how much Jackie Chan brings to the table, because Mr. Magoo fucking sucked. Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
So apparently, this movie, Rumble in the Bronx, Jackie Chan consciously wanted this movie to be his breakout American movie.
Yeah.
And he had done some other American movies that didn't really do it for him because he didn't, I think it was because like he didn't have a significant role or whatnot. But apparently shortly beforehand, he was offered by Sylvester Stallone the villain role in Demolition Man.
Yeah. Doesn't
And
do
he
villains,
turned it
though.
down. And he turned
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah, so the reason why I was talking about Jackie Chan playing a villain earlier is because in China, they really don't like when when the protagonist then switches and plays the antagonist in a movie. Apparently, that's not well received. So that would make sense that he didn't do the villain at that time.
Yeah, so he turned it down and like apparently tried to take things into his own hands to make Rumble in the Bronx. And apparently in the weekend that it opened, it was #1 in America for its opening weekend.
Nice.
And it
I
broke
believe
box office records in Hong Kong too.
Yeah, right. It was like a total hybrid production. Like, there was so many, like, while watching it, it doesn't feel like I'm watching a movie strictly made for like the Hong Kong audience.
Yeah.
It feels very Western. The beats are extremely Western. It feels actually, I shouldn't say it feels like an American movie. It feels more like a joint Canadian Hong Kong movie.
Yeah.
Just because of Vancouver, which has not like changed. Like there's a shot that not only has Tinseltown not changed, but like Hastings hasn't really changed too much. Like there's a shot that goes down Hastings, like the downtown core. It looks the same. It's wild. Just the cars have changed.
Yeah.
But everything else, oh boy.
Yeah, I do have to say, man, like, despite all its flaws, I love this movie so much.
It kicks ass. Like I watched it earlier today. Like I've watched little bits throughout my life. And it holds up and it kicks ass. I love it. Thumbs up. In terms of Jackie Chan action, I'm not sure if you could do too much better. I mean, this has the budget and like the Hong Kong style of stunts.
Yeah, apparently they set it in the Bronx to make it more accessible to Western audiences.
You don't say.
Well, yeah, as much as they could set it in the Bronx, so to speak.
Cha-ching. Oh boy, to shoot in the Bronx, boy, that's expensive.
Yeah, that's a specific. That's weird. That I guess because the Bronx is a rough and tumble neighborhood, and maybe that was like why specifically the Bronx? Why not like Rumble in L.A. I guess
Rumble
they couldn't
in
pull
Queens.
off Vancouver as L.A., but they couldn't pull it off as the Bronx. So
Yeah,
what
right.
are we saying?
Rumble in Chicago. That would have been cool. Rumble in Chi-Town. Is that what it's called?
Rumble in Midwestern America.
Rumble in Nebraska. That would have been great.
Well, I sure hope there's a sequel called Rumble in Nebraska.
Oh boy.
So because I've talked so much about this movie, my vote is to have this be our only movie on the list in the Sugoi tier. What do you think?
I agree. I 100% agree. You know.
Thank you. Funny. I know that you're doing this for me, and I thank you.
I do think it's better than the ones that we have on here. Like if Shanghai Noon is a B, then Rumble in the Bronx is absolutely S. I mean, nice. And for like Jackie Chan movies, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was such a fun movie. The action nailed it. You know, and Roger Ebert is right to a degree. Like, you know, you can't hold the plot against this movie. Like, as long as it delivers on the action, it's a good goddamn action movie, and it does. So it's excellent.
Yeah, sweet man.
Yeah. So, do we have that stamped? I guess actually before we stamp it. I also knew someone on Rumble in the Bronx, which is kind of funny. Like we both, like there was some actor that I knew that was the friend of someone that taught me like some acting lessons when I was younger, and he like showed up to like one of our like little video screenings, and like talked about Rumble in the Bronx. Apparently, he's like one of the gangster guys in the dock scene. I'm not sure if you, yeah,
sweet.
So it's a small world.
yeah. Vancouver is small when it comes to the film community, right, or whatever, the film industry here. So like, people, it's a little incestuous in the best way, of course.
Oh, in the best possible way. And we've, like I said, mentioned earlier, we've shot stuff where that rooftop jump happened, where like we shot scenes there. Yeah, that's so cool, man. We should go out on the road and do a live stream where we go to all the locations that Rumble in the Bronx was filmed. I'd be down to do that. That actually sounds pretty fun. Yeah, totally.
One time with my brother, we went and we actually made like a YouTube video for him of all the scenes that the like 1990 TV movie version of It was filmed.
Nice.
And it was actually super fun. Like, because it was all filmed throughout Metro Vancouver. And
that sounds pretty awesome. I'd be down to do that.
We should do that. We should make some videos, and people
fly
like
to Paris stuff. And check out where they shot Rush Hour 3.
Yeah, for sure, man. Of course. We'll knock on Polanski's door. Is he dead now? No, he's not dead, is he?
No, I wish. No.
Nice.
He's one of the only people you kind of say that about.
I'm just looking.
But to be fair, Rush Hour created Rotten Tomatoes. You know what? So if it wasn't for Rush Hour, Rotten Tomatoes wouldn't exist. Or actually, if it wasn't for Jackie Chan, Rotten Tomatoes wouldn't exist in general. Because the founder of it is a huge Jackie Chan fan.
Really?
And he was inspired to create the website after collecting all the reviews from Chan's Hong Kong action movies.
Are you serious?
And, as they're being released in the U.S. In anticipation for Rush Hour, his first major Hollywood crossover, he made the website in like 2 weeks, and the site went live like right before it was released.
No kidding.
So maybe if it wasn't for Jackie Chan and Rush Hour, we wouldn't have Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes may have slowly ruined the movie industry, but that's a bigger topic for another day. That could be a whole stream itself.
I like it. That could be. Man, well, cool. Okay, well, this has been fun. I think we should stamp this then. This is a pretty solid.
I think so.
Chan list right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else to add to it other than Jackie Chan made some kick-ass movies.
Yeah, you know what? We'll watch more eventually, and then we'll add more to it as we go. But, we wanted to speak from the heart with the ones that we have seen. So I think with that, let's stamp this puppy. Boom.
Ooh. Stamped. Official stamp. Boy.
Sweet.
Never gets old. Do you ever get sick of hitting that stamp?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, on my end, I don't actually get to hear the sound live. I only get to see it in the VOD, so that is one downside to my perspective, but it's all right.
What's the Wi-Fi loves to stamp. Oh, thanks, What's the Wi-Fi. Thanks for joining us, What's the Wi-Fi. Throwing in your 2 cents. If anyone else, of course, hit us up in the Discord if you have any additions to this. This is just a very basic outline of Jackie Chan's career. Obviously didn't capture everything, so if you have any additions, hit us up in the Discord.
Yeah.
Or if you have anything for our next tiers, hit us up in the Discord as well.
Or even what we should watch next. I think. Maybe we should watch Escape from Tomorrowland.
I'm down to give it a shot. Like, that has its own copyright issues. The fact that it's Disney without permission. So I don't think we're gonna get hit.
You know what? We might reveal though that we're being paid by Disney to make this stream if we start ripping on the movie.
Yeah, we are being paid by Disney. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah,
it's going to be a Marvel crossover. We're the next Marvel superheroes.
Jeez. Yeah. Yikes. Boy. Yeah.
We're teaming with Jackie Chan, Nick Cage, and Jim Carrey. We're all forming our own little squad.
Yeah.
It's called the Mediocre Movie Squad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never been done before.
No.
Sweet. Well, I think we can call it for tonight, and
I think so.
We'll figure out what we're gonna do next week. And thanks for joining us, everybody. What's the Wi-Fi? Cashew and cheese. Thanks for popping in here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
It's been great, and I guess I always ask you to sign us off, so I think I should probably do it once or twice here.
Parker, sign us off.
Well, Ed, now that you ask. It's always been good. It's been a great time. We'll see you next time on Parker and Ed at the Movies. Take care.
Woo!